Welcome back to Careful Boys, where we are indeed very careful boys.
Very careful. Be careful, guys.
Today we have...
Look how careful we are.
We have, well, let's be honest. Nick has been opening up like a flower around here.
Beautiful. It only took 6 months.
And we enjoy it. Yeah, we gave him so many fucking chances, and he finally started to open up, so thank God for that.
500 videos later.
Yeah.
I still don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
High five on the camera.
775 videos of Nick not really talking. Now he opens up. So, but no, it's honestly awesome. But we were talking a little bit, and we're very curious about how you prepare for a fight day, because like you know I've been watching UFC since like 2000 fucking what 6 or some shit.
They're fucking wearing gis in the octagon.
2000 karate times.
Yeah, dude. When it was like BJ and all those guys and GSP and. You know, that's just me sounding cool.
Yeah. But you know some names, brother. You know some fucking names.
I know some names.
It's like Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie. That's when I
Shawn Michaels, Undertaker.
Shawn Michaels. See, that's more my kind of guy.
Yeah, that's my era.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Chuck Norris is in there, right?
I'm more of the
Yeah,
Dudley
Steven Seagal.
$1 Million Man.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Jim
Bam Bam
Carrey.
Bigelow, dude. Wait, what'd you say? You said Jim
What'd you hear?
But yeah, like how do you prepare for a fight? Like how many weeks out do you even start?
How do you choose
What's
your
day
fighter?
one? What's day one of like, I know I'm gonna fight somebody, what's day one?
When I was fighting, I was fighting amateur, and it was really like loosey-goosey. So there was a lot of times where they would say, all right, there's a day that everyone's gonna bring their fighters to a gym, and we're gonna find somebody to fight you. That's how it would go. So it'd be a pool of other gyms in the community saying, hey, we're gonna do some kickboxing fights on this Saturday. Everyone pull up. We're gonna find someone who is around my weight, and you guys are gonna fight each other later this day. So a lot of the times,
Oh, so you wouldn't even know.
you wouldn't even know. This is like
a prohibition era, and people are just trying to go out to the
like
factory
cage
for work.
yeah,
They're just like me, pick me.
you're just trying to it's like they call them smokers or like exhibitions or something. They would use all these legal names to just kind of work around, because it's like for you to be able to fight in California, it needs to be sanctioned by an athletic commission for it to be a whole fucking thing.
Is it scarier in the preparation when you know who you're gonna fight, or when it's just or if it's like a big question mark?
You know what's funny for me? The younger I was and the earlier in my fight career, the more I was like not really nervous at all.
Like you're just young and dumb.
It's a young
Yeah, because at the time I was like, dude, yeah, I'm gonna fight, bro. I'm so fucking tough, blah, blah, blah. Because for me, the reason why I started training in general is because, you know, I felt like I had like a chip on my shoulder. I was like, I didn't learn how to fight. I didn't learn how to protect myself. I'm gonna get my ass kicked all the time, so I might as well learn how, right? So it was more of just proving to myself that like, oh, I could fucking fight. That's what it eventually came out to be. But when I would go to these fights, it was really scary, because you're like, fuck, I don't know who I'm gonna fight. A lot of the times too, you would get intimidated by fighting someone who's like has more experience than you, who's probably like I remember I got matched up with a guy who had like 7 fights, and he was like actually pretty fucking good, and I didn't know at the time, and I ended up fighting him, and I only had like 1 fight under my belt. Oh shit! And he fucked me up in the first round, and I was like, god damn.
So when you're scheduled for that, you're not sizing up your opponent. You don't know anything about his history.
My teammates purposely didn't tell me.
Wow.
Because they don't want you to be like low self-esteem.
Dude, because that's me all day. I'm low self-esteem, head case Nick, like negative Nick. Like that's how I am.
Don't tell them how
I'm like, I'm gonna get my ass kicked, man. Fuck.
Really?
Like, yeah, that's me all the time. 100%.
So your coach would be like, all right, so who's Nick's gonna fight? He's like, oh, that guy over there. He's like,
yeah.
oh, dude, the guy's real short. Dude, don't you worry about it.
And he was a short dude, and I was like, oh, okay, this would be a good fight. And then he fucking clocked me. The first punch he threw, he closed my eye, and then the second one he threw, my contact flew out, so I couldn't see. I was like, fuck. And I was like the first round. Man, we were fighting in someone's fucking backyard, bro, and the ring was like, the ring was as big as these tables, bro. Like it was.
There's nowhere to run.
Yeah, dude, it was so Kimbo Slice gonna show up? What's going on?
It was that's what the vibe was, bro.
Probably
Like,
those days. Probably those days.
When they say Nick was a knockout artist, he was like the one that gets knocked out.
bro.
He's like, I could fall on this side, and I could fall on this side.
How do you want me to get knocked out?
He's like, how can we put you over? How can we put you over? Is what I'm here to do.
That's exactly who I was. But I ended up actually won that fight, surprisingly. I thought
You won that?
Oh, you won it! I thought you said you lost.
Well, I got fucked up in the first round.
You were like blind.
Yeah, bro, and it was purely off instincts, and I just was like, I don't know how the fuck.
How many rounds was it? And then when did you turn it around?
Dude, it was in the middle of fucking like August, and it was like 110 degrees out. We were the last fight. We were like 16th fight.
So people walking to the cars.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, we were waiting so fucking long to fight. So already I just was like, I didn't want to be there, and I was like, fuck. And it was like the whole time you're going through this emotional roller coaster. So by the time you fight, you're just like, fuck it. Like, by the time I fought every single time, I was always like, all right, dude, like, let's just get this shit over with. Like, I just want to go home.
You're not hyped no more?
Be here. Yeah, you're not really not hyped. Like, I was like so fatigued.
You're not getting paid shit, I bet, huh?
Dude, you fucking wish you got paid.
In that fight though, when you're getting fucked up and a contact flew out, how did you turn that around?
In my head, I was like, "Don't get fucked up in front of your girl." That's what I thought. Yeah.
Oh, your girl's there?
And I remember having deja vu.
Was she screaming like?
Oh no! I remember like I got cracked, and then I grabbed the dude, and then I remember looking out to the crowd, and I see like Tiff and a couple of my buddies, like Steve Greene.
Just embarrassed for you.
And I'm just
shit.
whoa. And then, because usually for me, it's like, once I got cracked, I'd be like, oh shit, we're fighting, yo. Like, this dude is really trying to.
So it doesn't turn on until you get hit?
For me, at least, which is probably a very bad strategy. Like,
Because you're too friendly?
yeah.
Nick had no hype.
No, for real. Like, that's how it was. And then I was like, this guy's trying to fucking kill me. And then, like I didn't fucking know the pretense, right? Like, I signed up to fight.
Does that like turn on the animal in you though? Is that like what?
I think for me, it does. Yeah. Like, for me, it did.
And then you grabbed his jacket and you fucking turned it around.
Yeah. I don't want trouble. And then
I don't want any trouble, yeah.
rumbled the Bronx's ass, dude. But then that was like a kickboxing fight. And then when I did
So it wasn't MMA. That was just
it was an MMA fight.
But how'd you win? How'd you win that?
I just fucking kept punching him in the stomach, and I was like, I couldn't really see.
Because you can't put
You
it back
fucked
in.
him up with one eye.
Yeah, well, it was hard because I was like, I just said, all right, I'm just gonna try to fucking knock this guy out, and that's all I pretty much did. Like, there was no strategy. It's like, because it's so primal at that time, and and it's so fresh. These are new skills. I was probably kickboxing. I started fighting maybe 6 months in.
Wow.
Like, I was fucking super fresh. And in my head, I was like, everybody kicks my fucking ass in the gym. I get beat up by everybody. I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna win this fight. And it's purely like your back is against the wall and someone's trying to knock you out, and you're like, all right, I gotta do something.
And they put you up against the guy that has 7 fights
yeah,
already?
he was like 6-1, and my buddy had trained with him and was like, yo, we didn't want to tell you, but this kid's really fucking good. And I was like, oh, thanks, dude.
Thanks, bro. Wow, you're awesome.
But that was for me, like, it was a validating moment from that moment.
How did that fight get matched up though? Like, how do?
Just from weight. That's purely it.
And was it a decision by the judges?
No, dude, there's no fucking judges.
So how did you win? Like knockout? Like
There's like 3 like, it was a decision. So it was just I just outlasted him. That was it. He started throwing up in the ring.
He threw up in the ring,
that's a pretty good decision.
and the ring's this big.
Dude, he threw up like after the
guys
fight,
were
as
fighting
we're
and
raising our
slipping over
hands,
the
he's
door?
like, he's like throwing up.
Holy shit.
You pushed the pace, do you think, where he was like,
Yeah, well, I think he was. He probably thought he was gonna walk right through me. That's probably what it was.
Overconfidence fucked him up.
Yeah, and then I just kept fucking punching him in the stomach, and then over time he just got more tired, and then it gave more openings for me as the time went on. But at the time, it was just like the only thing that was going through my head was like, this is just what I do in the gym, so I'm just gonna do this here.
That guy's name, by the way, Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, I fucked you up, dog. I fucked you up.
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
After that fight,
Hasbullah.
after that
kick
fight,
my
did you
fucking
get
ass.
the bug? You're like, fuck, yeah, I gotta keep doing this?
Yeah, but it
Or-
also kind of got me a little more scared. Like, oh shit, like this is because I saw after that fight, I had like crazy dehydration, and at the time I thought it was a concussion. Shit.
Oh my God.
Because I was like fucked up. I couldn't drive home. I was like fucking wrecked. So it was like every time I would fight, I would always feel these feelings, and I was like, man, what the fuck is going on? Like, if this is winning, I don't know if I can handle this shit, right? Like, so that would always be constantly in the back of my head. And then once I started transitioning to MMA, it started getting a little more serious. There was actual like fight camps where we would have a 8-week training camp of like, all right, this was through the commission, so I had to get blood work, I had to go get physicals from doctors, and there was people that would come and actually sanction these fights. So it was like real, like there'd be walkouts and there'd be weigh-ins and all this shit. So there would be more things you'd have to do before the fight, which is actually more like anxiety inducing. Because the longer that shit goes, you're just like, I just want to fucking fight already. I don't want to do none of this. I don't want to have to stand in my underwear and pose in front of a guy.
Right.
I don't want to do any of that shit. I was like, I just want to compete, and that's it. But
How hard is
unfortunately,
it
that's the way
to, like,
goes.
you know you're gonna fight someone, but you know you gotta do all the fucking press, right? So, like, you have to go, okay, stand there, and you're like,
Yeah, well, dude, at that
that
level,
awkward?
yeah, it's super awkward. Like, one of my first fights, right?
You're in some dude's backyard going like this.
The guy, This is so funny, dude. Okay, so I was getting matched up with this was my first MMA fight, and in my head I was like, dude, I have to stare down with this guy. I don't want to do that shit. I was like 19. You know, I was like, I don't want to like look him in the eye. It's gonna be fucking weird. In my head, this is how I knew I wasn't gonna be a good fighter. I was like, I don't want. When I would train with new people or spar with new people, I would rather want to be their friend rather than like fuck them up in training.
Big teddy bear.
Yeah, like I didn't want to like fuck you up because I don't want to fight my friends in the gym because that's what it takes to like be competitive and be really good. But I just want to hang out and like crack dick jokes. I don't want to do all that shit.
Yeah.
So I would square off with these dudes like right before we're gonna fight, and in the picture it looks like I was like I don't want to look him in the eye. So I'm just gonna look down.
You're looking at his dick?
It looks like I'm looking at his fucking dick, and this dude had a little chubber too. So it looks like he's looking at me in the eyes, and I'm like this, looking right at this fucking dick, dude.
Well, that's because back then it was winner fucks a loser.
And I fucked the loser.
That's when his AK was Dick Nunn.
Yeah.
No, but in that fight, it was my first MMA fight. I was like really nervous because at the time I had a lot of insecurities about like my overall game, and I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to handle this shit.
You're 19?
I was like 19, probably like 19 or 20 at this time.
How many years of training in was this now?
This is probably like 3 years. But in my head, I'm like, I'm fucking terrible. Like I should not be fighting. Like this is constantly playing in the back of my head.
Why do you keep signing up for these fights?
Because I don't know.
Do people push you, or you're the one that...
It's people pushing me like, oh, I think you should fight now. Like my coach Savant was like, I think you're ready to do an MMA fight. And in my head, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, I don't feel ready at all for any of this shit.
But there was still an ultimate like desire for you to find yourself in that.
I mean, you're waking up, working out, you're doing.
Yeah, we're doing the training camp. We're training hard. I had to lose like 15 pounds in like a week and a half, which was fucking terrible.
Wait, you've been training since high school?
Since like after high school. So like when I was like 17, I started.
Oh, shit. And then from there, like, what was the moment when someone was like, yo, you should actually compete instead of just, like, the rest of us that just train at the gym?
It was just based off the coaches, right? Like, the fact that they even put me in fights in general, I was like, really? All right, you think I'm ready? Okay, fuck it. And at the time, I was like, this is a goal of mine, so obviously I'm gonna do whatever it takes to be able to achieve that goal. But when I started getting in these fights, like, dude, I didn't want to do any of that shit. I was fucking freaking out all the time. I was like scared. Wow. And even after I would like my first MMA fight I won, like I didn't really feel like I was like that was it. Because it happened so quick. The build up on everything is just takes fucking all day.
Quick as in like it happened ended in the first round?
It's like you gotta do the press, you gotta do all this shit, there's all this anxiety, and then when you actually get to the fight, you're like 3 minutes in the first round, it's over.
2 minutes in my first MMA fight, it finished.
And you won.
Because you won.
Yeah, but then even
Corner can, baby.
But even the way it happened was very like underwhelming. In my head, I was like, I thought that was an early stoppage. I don't think the ref pulled me off a little too soon. Like I bet like in my like that's just how I thought.
It's not good enough Nick in his head, huh?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you relate to when you know Mike Tyson, like when they asked him like how come you went crazy back then? He goes, man, he's just training for like 15 weeks to become this machine of war, and then you just kill the guy in the first round. So when I'm not done with that yet, you know. And then he goes like, I have to go to the gas station and beat up people because I've been training.
Not enough.
Yeah, like he's just so fucking hyped for like 16 weeks.
And that's when I realized that I don't relate to that. Where I was like, I'm not a fighter.
And that's when I quit.
Yeah, honestly, like it's like little shit like that, and it wasn't. And then like I had good success in my fights. Like I won like 3 fights up until this point, and the whole time I'm telling myself, you're gonna fucking lose. Why are you even doing this shit? This is crazy, blah blah blah. And then the final MMA fight that I had, I actually lost. And going kind of back to that topic that we talked about, that's where I learned the most. That's where I really felt like this is where the real growth.
Where'd you learn?
And that's the birth of the knockout artist.
Yeah, that's when I was like, I'm gonna get KO'd in every fight.
Every time.
What was it about the loss that like?
Because I went in there so confident. I thought I had checked all the boxes. I thought I did everything I needed to do, and then I lost by just getting held down by this guy who just didn't make weight. You know, like I just got held down for 3 rounds. I almost beat him in the last round. And then I just was like, that fired me up. Like, I was like, oh, fuck, I need to train. Yeah, like that's when I was like, okay, I need to start doing more jiu-jitsu, more wrestling, and really dive deep into that. And then once I kind of went down that rabbit hole, that's when I kind of started seeing like other outlets and more coaching and understanding the game as a whole rather than just like
I'm a fighter.
Yeah, exactly. Like looking at it from like a macro perspective. And I feel once I pulled back a little bit, then I started to have a little bit more fun and love for the game and coaching and like seeking self-improvement rather than like just wanting to beat people up in a weird way. Like I don't know, it's like a weird explanation of
It was less of an outlet and more of a discipline.
Exactly, in a lot of ways. And I think once that happened for me, that's when I started really getting a lot more from the sport and like actually training.
Were you the guy that told me you fucked up a restaurant worker because they didn't have anybody to fight that day? And they had a smoker fight, and then they didn't.
Oh no, that was my teammate. That was like one of the first.
They pulled like a chef or someone to just fight.
It was at Indian Reservation in Saboba.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
And like,
Was it King of the Cage?
it was similar. It was called
okay.
Gladiator Challenge.
Oh
And
yeah, that's just like the same thing. pretty much.
it's super similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my buddies, it was my first fight that I cornered my buddy for, and the day of the fight, the guy he was gonna fight just didn't show up. Nobody showed up, and we're like, all right.
And he fucked up a waiter.
Dude, he's like, you're gonna fight in 10 minutes. You don't have a fighter. So then they kept asking cornermen and other, like the people in the crowd. This is what they would do over there. They would go to the crowd and be like, hey, do you want to fight for like $200? You want to fight?
$200?
Dude, that's how it would go down, bro. And they asked this guy who was a cornerman, and this guy's fighting in cargo like shorts.
What year is this?
I remember this was the exact day where Anderson Silva broke his shin bone.
Oh, that was wild.
So it was probably what, like 2014, 2016?
Okay. Wow.
No, 2015-ish, I think. So it wasn't like that long ago.
Yeah.
But it just shows what a like crazy time the sport was. And my buddy fought some random guy, and this would happen all the time. Like,
Yeah, but did that random guy win?
no, he got fucked up.
I was like, what a crazy story though.
You put it in Bitcoin, and he's a millionaire. There you go.
You're fighting a train killer, man.
Dude, fighting is it's really not for everyone.
Hey, what's your thoughts about CTE? Because every time we talk about fighting now, it's kind of creeping in the conversation.
That's part of the reason why I stopped fighting, for sure.
Oh, it's just the brain
Trauma.
from not just from concussions.
Yeah. It's like I think it's a protein that develops from brain trauma, and it fucks your shit up.
Oh, really? Is
I
that
think
what it is?
it's a protein.
They're finding out so much about CTE, like through, unfortunately, the death of athletes in football and MMA even is.
That's gonna be next, dude, for sure. Yeah. Because I've seen a lot of people, like old OGs in the game, come train with us, and people that we used to watch, like coming up in a sport, who are legends, and then they just have really weird behaviors, like in day-to-day conversation with, and like just interacting with them and hanging out with them. You're like, oh, this is the dark side of fighting. This is the fucking cost that it takes. Because
Dang.
when you're getting punched in the fucking head like that, it
Even in training, I mean, you're getting punched in the head constantly.
dude, in training, that's when you get. Those are all the injuries I got were in training. Guys who were just trying to fuck you up, and way bigger guys just not take care of people in the gym, and then poor gym etiquette, and then I got like a bunch of concussions, and I started feeling those effects.
Which is how, I mean,
Like for me, the last concussion I got, which was really what like fucking scared me away from all of this shit, was like I didn't even get knocked out or anything. I just got hit in the back of the head, and I was just sparring with a couple of dudes, and they were going really hard. And at the time, I was probably like 140 pounds, and the guys were like 240, 220.
Oh shit.
Dude, and the drill was, hey, we're going real light, like pitter patter, boom, 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 and out of nowhere, just fucking crack you.
Oh, and his name was David So?
But honestly, that's how it would kind of go, like shit like that, where incidental contact, where you weren't trying to do that, but then things escalate, and all of a sudden we're fucking fighting in the gym, dude.
Like
we're
full
full on,
force.
like, dude, you cracked me, I'm gonna fucking try to knock your ass out too. Let's go. Probably not the smartest thing to do, and that's why sometimes you need good coaches to be able to regulate that.
Turn it down.
Yeah, and to make sure people stay on pace. But after those, like, I remember later that night, I finished training, felt fine, and then at dinner, like, I started getting the concussion effects, and like lights are really bright, and I was feeling nauseous. Went home, threw up a bunch.
Oh shit.
And then massive fucking headache. And then just feeling like kind of really delirious and really scared too, because you're like, fuck. And at the time, it was probably like the fourth one I had. So I was really freaking out, and I already had thoughts of like, fuck, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
And then once your family sees you that way, that's another fucking like guilt trip in your.
So you're a coach now. So how does that emotion or that experience translate into like how you train your students? Because you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
Those things happen and you kind of wanted to get out, but now you're also like coaching people that might potentially.
Yeah.
I'm in my head. I'm being the coach for my students the way I wish I was brought up in a game, just like everyone else, right? Like just passing it on better methods, because MMA and combat sports in general is pretty young.
Yeah.
So if you could just bring a little bit of insight to the coaching methods and how you bring up new athletes in the game, you could service them pretty well.
A good example is like when I started training with Nick and his crew, the culture is so different from all the karate places and like things that I've experienced, because traditionally it's always been fucking just tough it the fuck out. Yeah. Like I even visited a full contact karate gym and I got my ribs broken by bad training. Because dudes just kick the shit out of you. Yeah. Whereas like when you're training with this dude, it's like they go hard and they're great fighters, but they're also not trying to win a world title belt while practicing.
Right.
And the gym culture isn't a bunch of dudes trying to kill each other every day. And even the one where me and Bart went to, our sensei was pretty old school, where he would just be like, "Hey, you go fight this guy." He goes, "But this guy, he's like way fucking bigger and crazy." And they're like, "So? I just want to watch it. It's fun."
Yeah.
Like they'll do stupid shit like that all day long.
Dude, I seen a video of Bart beating the shit of like a 5'5", 100. Fuck it, he was mugging this guy, dude, and he got a belt for it. He got promoted for it.
Unbelievable.
It's almost like toughness over science. That's what I don't like.
And part of it though, like you need that shit. A lot of times, like there's times and places where you just need to have hard fucking training, bro. Like you can't substitute it because it gives you a type of grit that
science doesn't teach you.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the time and place for it, though.
But isn't some of this like it's being like kind of too oh man, I'm a man and shit.
100%.
Because like when I was doing Junri karate, you turn your head like that, and I'm like, oh fuck, hold on.
Dude, that's me, bro. That's fucking me.
Yeah, like I'm like trying to do forms to music, and I'm like, whoa, wait, I turned my head a little too fast.
I gotta throw the flag, man. I'm dizzy.
I don't know what I'm doing to my brain.
I do remember when I was in Taekwondo, and you know you're like fucking 11 years old, but you're like a second-degree black belt for no reason, because as long as you pay, you get the fucking upgrade.
That's pretty baller though.
But I would fucking like kind of beat people in my fucking age range. So then my the master would fucking spar with me and go, "All right, fine, I'll spar with you," and kick me once until my wind was out. I'd be crying on the floor, and that would be the end of my entire day. And I remember just being like, "Why would you do that?"
He's trying to humble you, dude.
Best part.
I'm like 11 years old.
You're a black belt with like 17 black stripes going all the way down. Because of 17 weeks paid.
And he just kicks the shit out of you.
17th degree.
Get more money, dude. He's just like, "Hey, you still gotta pay more, baby."